Oh yeah, so I will totally answer Eden Phoenix's question. Hello. Maybe it's Aiden Phoenix, I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe it's Aiden Phoenix! Phoenix!
Aden.
Phoenix!
Aden Phoenix.
Every time I go to Phoenix, the only way that I can pronounce that city in my head is that way.
We got the video glitch.
Yeah, go plug. Just push the button on the thing with the blue lights. The button is next to the red light.
Azure, fix it.
Make DJ Azure go scurrying over there. That's fine too.
Down on the floor where he belongs. I'm just joking.
Oh, Robo's palettes got moved around and number 7 is actually new? Okay, well number 7 is actually new. Whatever, she's got colors.
Yeah.
Alright, sorry. So Aiden Phoenix's color, or question color, wow, you did that to me, is, why does Robo-Fortune feel like a Guilty Gear character and immediately make sense if you play Guilty Gear? So there are a couple of reasons for that. The first one is that I don't know if anyone noticed yet, but her hard kick is actually dust.
Wow.
Like her hard kick button, you shithead.
I know. No, I hadn't. I'm saying that because who didn't notice that?
People don't. What?
Oh, god damn it. Did it still...
Is this a refresh?
Oh, a refresh situation? Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
refresh.
it's fine now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you to some person
anyway,
pointing that out.
So jumping hard kick is air dust. Standing hard kick is an actual dust with an overhead.
Yeah.
And crouching hard kick is not a sweep.
Yeah.
Because Robo-Kai's is not a sweep.
Yeah.
So some of the reasons that she feels like a Guilty Gear character are that she gets to use pretty much the same buttons, the same way that Guilty Gear characters do. Like jab is for some of the same things that it is in Guilty Gear. Slash is for some of the same things that it is in Guilty Gear in the same position. A lot of the frame data is actually very similar to Guilty Gear. If you look at whether moves are plus on hit or block, they are much more similar to Guilty Gear than the way that Skullgirls is. A lot of the startups are also closer to Guilty Gear's. Like, it's only a difference of 2 or 3 frames, but it helps if you're trying to figure out how a character is supposed to work.
Now that's really interesting.
She also relies on throws a lot, which Guilty Gear characters tend to do. And like, her air throw is very, very, very good, which it also is in Guilty Gear.
Oh, okay.
Jump cancels make a huge difference because no one else in Skullgirls has those.
Yeah.
And if you are trying to approach in Guilty Gear, you will basically learn how to do jump cancel pressure, so she gets some of that because it's the same thing. Like, her aim in a match is kind of the same that a Guilty Gear character is versus how a Marvel 2 character's aim is to... how do I even describe this? Like, Iron Man is basically the closest that a Marvel 2 character was to a Guilty Gear character in terms of neutral. He didn't have anything super fast as far as tri-jumps. He had some pretty good normals that you would use at pretty good distances, and he did really good damage when you hit them with things, but you actually had to open them up properly. You couldn't rely on super fast air dashes or high lows or anything like that. So she's kind of the same thing. She's much more patient than most of the rest of the Skullgirls characters are. I don't know how much sense any of this made. Also, she doesn't have anything that is as mashable as most of the other characters in Skullgirls, so you actually have to play neutral slightly more, right? She doesn't have a reversal super. She's not going to have a reversal super. She doesn't have a reversal invincible special move, so you have to be a lot more patient. If you look at how some of her hitboxes are constructed, I don't know that anyone would actually notice this, but she has more active area that's not covered by vulnerable area on a lot of things, which is also the way that they do characters in Guilty Gear because it helps make your pokes. It's not like standing strong is an amazing poke, right? It's just like it tends to work a little bit more than other characters because it has more active area that's not vulnerable.
That one specifically makes sense because I guess Makoto stands strong. Yeah.
But, and also, like I said,
Just
a lot of her stuff is plus, even on block. But she doesn't get to do like a move that's plus on block into a safe special move or into a safe super or into an instant air dash setup or whatever. She just gets to use it as part of pressure.
Yeah.
So, like, my overall approach for her in terms of how she should be played is a lot more like what a Guilty Gear character's approach is, which is some good avenues for approach, but nothing extremely abusable, and also having tools that you can use at full screen. I mean, this is why she's a zoner, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of characters in Guilty Gear have some kind of requires a bunch of setup beforehand gimmick, right? Jam has cards. Ino has charging notes and having the notes travel for a long time to gain more hits. Eddie has Shadow. Abba has Maroha mode. Robokai has mats and
you could literally go
tension
down like the
bars.
whole cast.
Like
with this,
you can.
yeah.
Johnny has coins, right? Like you can go through a lot of characters, and they are much more setup based. Like I get extremely better later on in the match as long as I've had the chance to sacrifice some advantages earlier on for parts of setup. So she works the same way with her head.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Fortune doesn't really have to do that. She doesn't have... She's not as much a setup character in that you have to build resources for a while. Right? Because you can put the head out and then you can use it for things right away. Squiggly is also based on a Guilty Gear character. I mean, she's based on Johnny. Right? So she worked out kind of the same way in terms of you approach the game more like Guilty Gear than like Vampire Savior or Marvel.
That's
if
weird.
you want to play either of those two characters.
Somehow that's the first time I heard that about Squiggly.
Really?
Yeah.
She's
I don't
an
think you ever
improved
told me
Johnny.
that before.
I mean, she doesn't have coins, but like the whole stance cancel mechanic is
Yeah.
an improved version of Johnny.
Okay. That's... Yeah, that offers me a different perspective on this character now. I think I gotta go play VSAV again?
You probably do.
Okay. I'm gonna go do that.
And now I get to turn down the microphone because it's making a lot of noise. Alright. Sorry. So, come on, Weatherby. Don't get stomped.
Rob was just yelling in my... Hello?
What? Oh, I turned it down.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Rob was just yelling in my general direction. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Well, so the other part about... Duckator said he wishes that the rest of the characters were designed like Guilty Gear characters. I don't, because having the contrast makes the characters that are designed... Wow, that was nice. Makes the characters that are designed like Guilty Gear characters stand out a lot more, right? You have to have a mix of characters that don't require setup like Saul and characters that do require setup like Haas. Squiggly, so for the full comparison, Squiggly is basically Johnny with Haas's mechanics in place of Johnny's stance cancels. So like with Johnny, you have to hit a bunch of buttons in a row and it requires strict timing and whatever. And with Haas, if you want to do stance cancels, you just do one motion.
Yeah.
And you get it. So I hope that made some sense.
Yeah.
It's also
It does.
like this is one of those things that no one wants to hear. Wow. And he takes the second one. Yo, Weatherby, try winning. Try winning. He can't hear me. No, that makes sense that he couldn't hear me. Anyhow, so the characters, I mean, if you want to break down the characters that have a more Marvel 2 oriented design are Philia, Fortune, Painwheel to some extent, because she's also heavily Guilty Gear, because you have to... A lot of doing well with Painwheel involves knowing what the opponent is going to do. Like, Sentinel ended up more like that than Magneto did, right? Valentine... I'm doing a really good job at blanking on who the characters in this game are. Fukua and Eliza and Big Band. But Big Band is also a little bit of Third Strike. The characters that are more heavily Vampire Savior are also Fortune, because she was about half and half for both. Parasol, oddly. Beowulf, obviously. And the characters that are Guilty Gear are Robo and to some extent Painwheel and Squiggly, very much so. And I'm sure I skipped some characters in there. Double is kind of a hybrid. She is mostly Marvel with a slight bit of vampire.
Makes sense.
Because she was supposed to be like Strider's kind of pressure with meter.
Strider's
Not by herself, but with meter.
Yeah.
So she's actually kind of Strider Doom by herself because she can cross you up with assists like Strider can. I mean, it's interesting because you also get sorry. I make comparisons when I'm designing a character like Parasol Sniper Shot is Hailstorm, and then everybody looks at me like I'm nuts because it doesn't look anything like Hailstorm.
Yeah,
but the difference is,
some people
with Hailstorm, you can throw it out whenever you want. The other person can't avoid it. And then if you throw it out at full screen, they can't really do anything about it, right? So the broken bit of Hailstorm was that even if you threw it out up close, they couldn't do anything about it afterwards.
But everybody
so it
thinks
doesn't do that. But then everybody thinks
visually.
Well,
it's
it doesn't.
like,
It visually it doesn't matter. But if you implemented Hailstorm as it just spawned a bunch of hail visually,
Yeah.
but then it actually just spawned a bunch of hitboxes straight on top of you, it would be Sniper Shot.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, but people think instead like it's not a hitbox that covers the entire screen. So yeah, I don't know.
What was that? Also 3-1.
People more visually learning.
Yo, Weatherby.
That was 3. Yeah, that was
3. Was that 3-1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 1-3-3.
Who's next?
Who's next?
Who's on the board?
Dan, me, Bang, and Davida. Dan, you want to go?
Right here. So.
Go.
Dan is going.
Do you know what this even is?
Doesn't matter.
Hold on, because he's not going to get $3 out. Dan, do you know what this even is? A Kumite, says Dan. Thank you, Dan.
dying.
Yes, it's a Kumite, but every round you lose, he gets $1. Or every game you lose. You need $1. I'll give you $1. Jeez, Dan, really? Hold on. Here. Because I'm not going to lose any money.
That was the best answer.
So I'll give that one to you.
Kumite?
Kumite. A Kumite.
You know what this is? A Kumite?
Kumite? A Kumite. It's a Kumite.
I think he said Kumate after that too. Kumati?
Kumite.
Kumati.
Kumite.
It's okay. What he lacks in vocabulary, he'll make up for in gameplay.
Oh no!
Hi, Bang. Sorry. Bang just asked me to lift my leg. Anyway, the other nice part about working on a fighting game as opposed to working on a lot of other types of games is that you get to see whether your design worked out or not. Like, gee, I hope people will play Philia this way, so I'll give her tools that will lend herself to being played this way, and then it works out, or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan, come on.
Jumping into Excelabella over and over.
Come on, Dan, you can do better than this.
Oh, that... Man, that's still taking me getting used to. The one hit stand roundhouse throw reset.
So, another really interesting part of making this game has been the fact that, okay, so if you're a Guilty Gear character and you're in Guilty Gear, whenever you finish hitting the opponent, you know, most of the time when it was a knockdown or when it was in the air or whatever, they get the tech. And you have to tech chase and see what you can do about that. And you don't really get to keep people on the floor because if you hit them off the ground, they can tech right away.
Yeah.
So you have to just knock them down and leave it there. But Guilty Gear characters are really, really bad at resets.
Yep.
Because there aren't air resets in Guilty Gear because there are tech punishes instead, which are much slower and much less guaranteed. There really aren't ground resets except for like Zappa's Infinite. So when you do a Guilty Gear style character in this game, they actually end up quite a bit better than they would be in Guilty Gear. Like Squiggly being able to do tons of resets and restands so that she can reset you after doing a decent amount of damage is... Oh, Dan, you should have blocked that. I don't know what was going on there. Is way better than she would be if she were put into Guilty Gear because you would be able to air tack away from everything. She would lose a lot of like launch into stuff resets. She would lose a lot of things from Daisy Pusher because you can jump cancel, and from center stage because Guilty Gear gives you much stronger air options that you get back as soon as you get hit. Like, it's interesting watching like characters and how they ended up working in this game versus how they would have ended up working in other games. I personally have no problem with the Marvel 2 meta of like, this character has some really good stuff that they can just do, and you have to, I mean, pretty much nothing is safe on block unless you're going to DHC. So you don't just throw stuff out. Like, if you read that they're going to super you, then they get killed for it, which was basically how Marvel 2 worked. Like, you always had to be watching out for supers, and it was really interesting because only one of the top tier characters, well, two I guess, because Sentinel kind of could do it, only two of the top tier characters ended up like that, right? Cable and Sentinel, and that's it. Magneto and Storm both have really crappy reversals. Magneto has nothing invincible, and Storm has nothing invincible. So the meta in Marvel 2 at top level ended up way different than it normally would have if the characters that were good in previous Versus games had still been good. Like, if Wolverine had still been good and Cyclops had still been good, Marvel 2 would look very different from how it looked. But since it ended up the way that it did, there's a lot of really interesting stuff in that game to base design off of, because you can see how the interplay of two characters with really fast pressure and really insane Okizeme and pressure games can handle not having good reversal supers at all, as long as you have assists and basically absolute guard during push block. Those were the two things that made Marvel like work. And also that Marvel 2's push block mechanic lent itself very well to projectile pressure not being super overpowering. Like, if you couldn't push block guard cancel, some of the characters that are really good in Marvel 2 would be unstoppable. Like, you wouldn't be able to beat Spiral. Oh boy.
I love that.
The follow-up. Oh, and he grabs him again because Dan never jumps. Oh, Dan. Don't let this happen, Dan.
Oh, wow, that was a really good reflect, but oh, it all worked out in the end for some person anyway.
Well,